Hey, what's up you guys? It is me, Natasha, or you may know me as Psychic Medium Natasha. And in today's quick video, I just want to talk about the different types of spirit guides that you can choose to intentionally connect with for your own spirit work or your own spiritual practice. Keep in mind that not all spirit guides not all spirits serve your highest good. Some spirits are malicious. They do intend to harm you. There are such things as trickster spirits, but I also believe in intention. And I also believe that we have the power to protect ourselves, to cleanse, to banish negative influences, and so forth. So I want to talk about the different types of spirits that you can choose to connect with, whether that be to manifest or to help you gain clarity or whatever else. I think it's important we keep in mind who we should be aiming for. So let's talk about the different types of spirit guides. If you're interested, then please keep watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, you guys, so you don't miss any of my free content. So we're not going to talk in depth about the different ways you can connect with your spirit guides. We're just talking about like the different types and who they are and what you should know of them, okay? But you're more than welcome to comment down below any questions you have about this, or email me directly, and I'll leave my contact information in the description box and more reference material about spirit guides in the description box of this video. But let's move right on into it, you guys. Let's move into the different types, okay? One of the different type of spirit guides you could choose to work with is your blood ancestors. Blood ancestors is literally your family who is of blood, who have died, deceased, and have crossed over. Now keep in mind, you know, some ancestors, you know, were doing some shady stuff in life. They weren't good in life, and they may not be good for you in the afterlife either. But usually the spirit guides that do serve your highest good, unless, you know, you knew them, like they passed in your lifetime, usually those spirit guides are ancient, like decades or centuries old, and they just want to preserve or heal the family bloodline from any injustice, trauma, any wrongings, all that, through the healing of the living. So if you want to connect with your blood ancestors, I do recommend you connecting more with your culture. Make the intention that you want to connect, but blood ancestors is literally family. And, you know, you could do your own personal research connected for your own self, but ideally, blood ancestors could be a great way for you to have your own protection, and they're a good ally. You know, they want the best for you, ideally. Yeah. So the next type of spirit guide you can connect with is your deceased loved ones. Deceased loved ones is usually and generally family, not family, friends who have died. So deceased loved ones are friends that you cared about, peers that have passed away. Now keep in mind, not everyone that dies automatically crosses over. If you are still earthbound, you have unfinished business, things to process, yada, 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 you're typically earthbound. If you're earthbound, you can't visit all the places you want to. You can't interact with all the spirits you would want to. You're kind of limited in terms of what you could do. But for the ones that do cross over, you can absolutely call on to them. You can call on to them to ask for clarity. You can call on to them to assist you with manifestations or with your own personal development. But you have to ideally know that they have crossed over and make the effort to call out to them so that they can connect with you. Now, the next type of spirit guide is animal guides, okay? There are so many different animals, as you guys know. So each different animal spirit guide has their own nature, their own essence, their own power that's associated with them. And animal guides, they can be very powerful for your own manifestations and healing. For example, if like, let's say, for example, I wanted to summon more fierceness for myself, I could connect to one of my animal guides, which is the puma. Or maybe I want to help with more channeling work, or just getting more into embodiment, and I can call my power animal, which is my whale. So animal guides could be a great way for you to embody a different perspective, a different way of being into yourself. And they can teach you a new perspective of life as well. But you have to connect directly to the animal that you want to basically be, or be more like. Okay? And keep in mind, some of these spirit guides may be reaching out to you, but it's important to be aware of the different kinds of spirit guides that you could potentially work with. Okay, the next type of spirit guides is archangels and angels. Okay, there's a lot of debate about the types of archangels and angels, depending on your beliefs and, you know, culturally and all that stuff. I work with Archangel Michael in my practice. He's very powerful for cutting cords and protection. So I can speak on experience that archangels, they govern other angels, and they're very powerful allies for healing work and for manifestations if it's for your highest good and harm to none. Angels can sometimes assist other spirit guides for a higher good for the collective. But basically, angels and archangels, they're usually connected to the higher realms. You know, I'm not going to say heaven, because not everyone believes in heaven, and I am spiritual. I don't consider myself to be a Christian, but I do work with archangels. And I find that archangels are a very strong ally within the higher realms. If I want to connect with the Akashic records, if I want to get more into healing, like with source, I would connect with archangels and angels in general. But like I said, if you're trying to connect with a certain type of spirit guide, they might be trying to reach out to you, or you may be drawn to connect with a certain type, which is maybe why you're here. Okay, the next type of spirit guides is Fae and Elementals. Fae and Elementals, they're kind of along similar things. Fae and Elementals are connected to the elements, so earth, air, fire, water, and they are usually the master manifestors and protectors of nature. They are amazing for manifesting, and they're amazing for finding lost objects and usually just manifesting. Like, that's what I usually like connect with Fae and Elementals with, but I also help them help me with certain embodying, because I do use elemental magic in different ways in my practice. But Fae and Elementals, they're usually very drawn to empaths. So if they love working with empaths because we're very sensitive, we can pick up on stuff, and we're usually free flowing to one of the elements or type of Fae anyway. So Fae and Elementals, they're really great for us sensitives who are wanting to deepen our connection with nature and build our power. But that's what they're here for, essentially. The next type of spirit guides you can connect with is deities, okay? And this has some debate, you know, controversial, but this would be your gods or goddesses. And as you know, there's different cultures like Norse, Celtic, my goodness, there's so many different kinds. But basically, deities, this is at your own discretion, you know, because there's questions on how do I know if a deity is connecting with me or this resonates or whatever. Well, for one, I feel that deities usually pick us, to be completely honest. Me being a pagan witch, me connecting with, you know, other witches and seeing it happen. When you're usually working with the deity, you usually already have a connection with them, or you're being drawn to them because you're kind of being summoned or pulled by them to work with them. It's very rare that you'll just randomly pick a deity and then they're like, oh, hey, because deities, there's controversy with that. So I would just say, if you're wanting to work with deities, you're going to have to learn specific about, you know, their lore, their myths, their legends surrounding that deity. You know, what did they represent? What was their message? What did they care about? Because when you're working with deities, you have to be you have to learn so much about that specific deity in order to work with them, so you can give them offerings and embody what they're about. But deities, I consider deities and archangels connected to the higher realms, because they're not living in the dense physical realm no more like they used to. So deities, that could be a very strong influence to work with, but there's so many different type of deities, different type of god and goddesses you could work with. It really does depend on who you're connecting with to achieve different results. They're all different. So just keep in mind that deities, it usually requires more commitment. You have to build a relationship with them, usually create an altar space and all that. But it's very rewarding when you work with deities, because usually they are with you for years. You know, they're not usually here for a season. Sometimes it can help you with the chapter in your life, but it varies. You know, everyone's different. But they could be a great ally, but you have to build that connection. It's not as fast as other connections with different type of spirit guides. Okay, another different type of spirit guide is ascended masters, okay? Ascended masters are people. They were humans in life, but they died, they deceased, and instead of being reincarnated back on Earth, they have ascended. They have ascended, and they don't have to be a part on Earth no more. They've already learned all that they needed to do and be, and evolved and ascended from life. So some, you know, some ascended masters you may have heard of is Buddha, Jesus. There's so many different kinds, but that's basically what ascended master is. There are people that were living, and they have ascended. They have no need. And usually ascended masters, once they have ascended, they help humanity, but on the astral plane, on the spiritual plane, so that they can they can help all of humanity, and that we can make the specific intention to connect with them. But you have to call out their name, usually in prayer or meditation or divination, or going into trance. You can connect with ascended masters, but you have to be knowledgeable in their story, who they are, and make the intention to connect with them. But they can be very powerful for helping you with whatever you're trying to achieve, depending on what they've already mastered for themselves. So that's going to require some learning, but ascended masters, they're just wanting to help. So it's not like you have to really win them over. You just really have to educate yourself on who they are and open yourself up to their influence. Okay, the next type of spirit guide is starseeds, okay? Starseeds are especially spirit guides that come from different star systems, different solar systems. They're not from this part of the universe, to be simple about it. And there's different kinds of souls and spirits. There's Pleiadians and so many different kinds. Like, you could literally look up on Google starseeds, and there's different kinds. But the gist of it is that they are not from here. Usually they're varying on different levels and experiences depending on where they're from. But typically starseeds are generally more advanced than we are, because we're considered kind of we're kind of an underdeveloped civilization compared to other places, is how starseeds sees us humanity. But they want to assist us. They know we're, you know, stuck in a, well, I'm not going to say stuck, but we're kind of in this resistance role with our evolution, and they're trying to help us speed it along. So starseeds can be very powerful, but you have to be knowledgeable and who you're connecting with. And usually if you are wanting to connect with starseeds, it's usually because you're being pulled to learn more about your soul origin or connect more with your soul family. So this is, I would suggest, if you're connecting with starseeds, to do more shadow work or maybe hypnotherapy, because it's usually deep in our subconscious that we can uncover more of these deeper truths or realities to the connections we have with spirit. And I feel that with starseeds, definitely specifically true. But you have to educate yourself on what are you drawn to, what's the connection, all that. And that's usually in the subconscious. So just keep that in mind if you're working with starseeds, especially with the different type of starseeds it is, they all have different things going on with them culturally. So keep that in mind. Okay, and the last type of spirit guide you can connect with is nature spirits. Nature spirits are spirits that are connected with the land of nature. So this is like tree spirits, crystals, ley lines, things like that. It's literally energy connected through nature, but they have their own consciousness. They're their own being. They're alive. They're just not like us, you know, moving about and eating sandwiches and all that. So they are different from Fae and Elementals, but they kind of work in hand. Fae Elementals and nature spirits, they kind of work together usually to help Mother Earth and animals and humans. But nature spirits are specific to, they are just the essence and spirits and consciousness that's connected through nature. So I love to use crystals in my practice. I connect a lot with tree spirits. I find that tree spirits really help me, well, nature spirits in general, they help you with healing. They help you with being grounded, being fully here and present, helping you to receive, helping you to strengthen your own vitality. And they just, it's like if the more you connect with nature spirits, the more you're just, it's like you're living more of the human experience the way it's intended to be, but you're strengthening your own self and awareness at the same time. So I love using nature spirits in my practice. But you have to surrender to nature spirits and make the intention of, I want to be strengthened by you. I'm open to your suggestions, and pay attention to how you feel. So like we said, the different type of spirit guides you can connect with is blood ancestors, family, deceased loved ones, friends, animal guides, so many different type of animals, archangels and angels, Fae and Elementals, deities, ascended masters, starseeds, and nature spirits. So keep in mind when you're working with any type of spirit, you guys, that you're wearing protection. Make sure you're being clear and specific and direct with the spirits that you're trying to connect with. Understand that not all spirits want the best for you. Some are malicious. They intend to hurt you or trick you. There are such thing as trickster spirits. So just make sure that you are setting sacred space. You're doing your spiritual hygiene. You're protecting yourself. And you're being intentional and specific and clear with who you're working with. And it wouldn't hurt to give appropriate offerings, especially if you are trying to get favors from them. So I hope this video was helpful. You're more than welcome to comment down below and ask a question that's related to the different type of spirit guides that I mentioned. And I will, of course, leave reference material to spirit guides and what we talked about in the description box below, according with my contact information in case you want to contact me. So blessed be.